Celine always went to the 7 o'clock Sunday morning service at her church. Usually she heard the clanging of the church bells while she was eating breakfast. But this morning she heard them while she was still in bed. That means I'm late, she thought. Celine jumped out of bed, quickly dressed and left without eating or looking at the clock. It was still dark outside, but it usually was dark at this time of year. Celine was the only one on the street. The only sounds she heard were the clatter of her shoes on the pavement. Everybody must already be in church, she thought. Celine took a short cut through the cemetery. Then she quietly slipped into the church and found a seat. The service had already begun. When she caught her breath, Celine looked around. The church was filled with people she had never seen before. But the woman next to her did look familiar. Celine smiled at her. It's Jenny Adams, she thought. But she's dead. She died a month ago. Suddenly Celine felt uneasy. She looked around again. As her eyes began to adjust to the dim light, Celine saw some skeletons in suits and dresses. This is a service for the dead, Celine thought. Everybody here is dead, except me. Celine noticed that some of them were staring at her. They looked angry, as if she had no business there. Jenny Adams leaned toward her and whispered,
"Leave right after the benediction, if you care for your life."
When the service came to an end, the minister gave his blessing. "The Lord bless you and keep you," he said. "The Lord make his face to shine upon you." Celine grabbed her coat and walked quickly toward the door. When she heard footsteps behind her, she glanced back. Several of the dead were coming toward her. Others were getting up to join them. "The Lord lift up his countenance to you," the minister went on. Celine was so frightened she began to run. Out the door she ran, with a pack of shrieking ghosts at her heels. "Get out," one of them screamed. Another shouted, "You don't belong here," and made a torn on her coat. As Celine ran through the cemetery, a third grabbed the hat from her head, damaging it. It screamed,
"Don't come back,"
and shook its arm at her. By the time Celine reached the street, the sun was rising, and the dead had disappeared. Soon, she began to faint. When she woke up, she was at her bed. Everything was just a dream, she thought. Then she suddenly noticed her torn coat and damaged hat placed on the table.